Good morning, Hope. We're finishing out this week with Psalm 23, perhaps the most well-known, most popular psalm outside of the church as well as in the church. It is a favorite among many. I know yesterday I mentioned Psalm 22 is one of my favorites, and I do prefer Psalm 22 over 23 if we're ranking them, but I do appreciate the theological depth that we find in Psalm 23, especially for how brief of a psalm it is, with it only being six verses. All right, so Psalm 23 is a psalm of David. It starts with, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." Now, the image of shepherd in the Old Testament is often used for princes, governors, kings, rulers, people in positions of authority. And it's used because these positions, the kings, the governors, they're not simply people who rule, but they're people who provide, people who give nourishment, people who they are the source of well-being for the nation, for the people. So in a sense, they are a shepherd, and they're also a protector. And that's what Yahweh is for David and for his people and for us. I shall not want, another way of saying that is I lack nothing. There's nothing that I need that God won't give me. We might often be missing out on something that we think we need, but if we needed it, truly needed it, God would give it to us. He is the ideal shepherd. He leads me beside still waters, lie down green pastures. Sheep drink from still waters. Flowing water, they won't drink from. I'm not sure why, but apparently they don't do it. Shepherds often would stop up water, sometimes with rocks, to get it to be still, and then they would leave the sheep there so they will drink of it. Sheep need a lot of leading, a lot of shepherding, a lot of assistance. Without the shepherd, they will lack. And so that's why sometimes you talk, God judges the leaders of Israel because of their lack of shepherding his people. Continuing on, verses 3 and 4, "He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." So Yahweh here, he leads and he comforts the sheep. He leads and comforts us. He gives us rest. He restores our soul. If you're looking for that restoration, you need to go to the shepherd. You need to go to Jesus Christ. He is the good shepherd. He's the one who will restore your soul. Nothing else in this world can restore your soul like Jesus Christ in his word. He will lead us in righteousness for his glory, for his namesake. He will protect us. Regardless of the situation that we may find ourselves in, he is there with us. In the darkest, most deepest valley that you can find yourself in this life, he is there with you. And just consider what we talked about yesterday in Psalm 22, the valley that Jesus himself entered into on our behalf as he incurred the wrath of the Father for our sin. If he was willing to go that far, he's there with you right now, regardless of how dark of a valley you're in right now. And not only is he with you, but his rod and his staff, they're there to comfort us. Now, the rod and the staff of the shepherd was used for a variety of things, to protect the sheep from wolves and other predators, but also to discipline the sheep. If a sheep were to wander off, a shepherd sometimes would break the leg of the sheep with the rod, in order to keep the sheep from wandering off into harm's way. And then the shepherd will carry the sheep and anoint the sheep with oil until the sheep is healed. And then in most cases, the sheep would never wander off after that, and would stay with the flock. So the protection and discipline of Yahweh brings us comfort. It's done out of love. It's done out of our own good, though when you break a leg, it doesn't feel good. But it is for our own good. Verse 5, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." So God, again, provides for us, even in the midst of our enemies. And he does so for his namesake. And he refreshes us with oil. When a sheep shepherds would sometimes put oil on the sheep's head, and it would help keep the bugs, the flies out of their eyes and the bugs from pestering them. So the oil helps with just it's a thing of comfort, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so it's a blessing for a sheep to not have to worry about the bugs flying in their eyes. You get anointed with oil, and not only is it, I'm guessing it's probably soothing, but it gives them rest from all the bugs that might be bothering them. And then in verse 6, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Because we belong to God, because we are his sheep, we are part of his flock, goodness and mercy will be with us forever, and we will dwell in his house forever. After you read this psalm, I would encourage you to read John 10, and when Jesus talks about him being the good shepherd, and just ponder the connections there. So that's Psalm 23. It is a straightforward psalm. It is rather simple, yet the theological implications and theological depth that we could go into, that I am right now trying not to go off on some tangent and preach about it, are many. It is a beautiful song, and there's no wonder it's a popular song as well. So I hope Psalm 23 is a blessing to you. I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed weekend, and we'll pick up next week on Monday with Psalm 24. God bless.